Wait a second, this is a video. Oh, let's talk about beer. We have Peter, we have Mary, and some pale. What is this supposed to mean? The thing that it's time to open the beer can and talk about Turku Saatanalle. As you can see, this is what happened some 3 years ago when it was Turku Saatanalle IV. And, well, things have pretty much been growing up ever since. I think not necessarily better bands, but let's put it this way, more above everything, except maybe the amount of band and beer pouring skills. Like it says, it's 7th time since Turku Saatanalle was here a couple of days ago. It's Monday. I'm still having a slight headache from the whole week, and I wonder why. And as you can see here, that is my voice is a little bit still gone, and well, one might say that it has something to do with staying up until 5 o'clock in the evening, drinking maybe too many beers, having a lot of good time with friends, bands, and then some. Now, there were even some Jesus people praying for, I don't know, some praying group or whatever, just in order to stop this Turku Saatanalle, Turku for Satan event from happening. But as much of the prayer were going, as many prayers there might be going or whatever, things just happen mostly in a good way. Now, of course, as it always, well, let's say too often is the case with all these events, there had to be some last-minute cancellation. Akron from United States of America absolutely couldn't make it, even though it was one of the headlining bands. So this was like very last-minute thing happening on Thursday night or evening in Finnish time, so they were not possible to get a replacement for that. Now, before that, Horna got to replace Trollheimsgrot, which we already kind of hinted of at the Turku Saatanalle interview video. So this was clearly an event with lots of complications. Also, as was mentioned in that interview, there was this kind of a short notice place replacement. The venue was supposed to be the same as it has been for a couple of years now, and suddenly that was not the case no more. And so it seems like bad luck had been following through the whole thing. This might be, leading people, canceling their plans in order to go to festival, and then canceling the festival because they might have, seen a certain band, like in this case Akron, but they will Deathkin and Perdition wins to kind of replace Akron. I know it's not the same thing, especially for Finnish audience, considering that one is kind of a old school name from United States and was supposed to play their last show like ever in Turku, and kind of a special thing. I heard it was meant to be like live footage thing. Some people had got those tickets before because of Akron, and then boom, it didn't make it. Now, I'm not gonna get into details. They're quite ridiculous, they're quite debatable, but that also meant that we had to cancel Akron interview. But we got Öden, that is like Auden for the rest of the normal people of us here, and Morgul interviews, so not too many, because obviously my camera person was also kind of double booked, basically. Well, not double booked, she simply not booked with me to do this, that, but I got my other camera person who was, and again, way too busy, most other stuff, most other responsibilities during the fest, taking photos and whatnot, so lots of more or less little and bigger complications which kinda tried to bring this all down. But at least the case with Metalli Helvetti, the organizers of Turku Saatanalle and other metal events here in Turku, and also because the stubbornness and kind of a dedication, even devotion by some people in this area, things went on and it turned out to be a great event. Now, for the first time, this was in Lagomo, which is kind of a cultural center for all kind of events here in Turku. And this replacement venue, I might say, was one of the smaller parts of Lagomo, but I think it offered a great place, not as maybe close to the central parts and whatnot as the original place, but to be honest, I like this part better. Sound was better and everything was kind of like easier to, set up. So overall, I really can't complain. And I wasn't too shocked about actor cancelling. I mean, of course, personally, it was one of the bands that were more or less one of the biggest names for me. But I mean, these things happen. Obviously, I kind of get annoyed that the, interview get cancelled. But then again, that's why we have Morgul here. These will be out later on in the spring. I don't know exactly when. The editor is very busy, but I hope to get them around maybe in April or early May. Nevertheless, there are quite a few interviews coming up, at least 5, or actually technically speaking, like 7 interviews coming up. So we have lots of content coming out in coming weeks. But the basic thing I think people are supposed to watch this is like, so what was Turku Saatanalle like? Were there good bands? How was production? Was there any fights? Were there any more complications, whatnot? Well, despite all these circumstances that took place there, I think it was one of my favorite Turku Saatanalle things. Why so, you might ask? Well, first of all, lots of friends. Also, lots of good bands playing good shows. Obviously, I didn't see them all. Thing is, it gets quite tiresome. You can start just picking your kind of favorites. But also because of lots of friends, you end up having lots of good time. Just, small talking and chatting, asking how things are. And obviously, interviews always take a kind of a slice of that time. So, what can I say? An excellent weekend with some good bands. Now, mentioning some of my favorite bands on stage might not make much of a sense because obviously it's a matter of taste. For example, I've seen Revenge play before, and while they have enormous amount of energy and kind of crazy, chaotic feeling on stage, like they're just going rampage, and they're like, it's not really my cup of tea, but some people were just like, wow, like one of the better gigs ever. Then again, Horna, which is, as you might know if you saw my Friday Classic review, is always a very solid band. I mean, wasn't the second or first time or third time for me seeing Horna, but once again, one of those bands that it's always nice to see those guys in stage. Be it for, this little speeches between the show, I mean the songs obviously, and the selection of songs, the cover selection or whatever. I mean, these guys perform really solid, talented guys with lots of experience, and you can just show it. They don't have to do even any extra effort to make it seem like they're pro, because I think their level of playing music and going on stage is already pro level, has been there, I don't know, for half an eternity. Now, what else? I could say the variety of different bands there, like from Morgul to Horna, they might be the same genre, but their output is different, their music is different, the whole atmosphere is different. So all these bands, going on stage, like front with new vocalist, I don't know if it's a permanent choice, members rarely are, but it was so much different, and at the same time kind of a same kind of energy and output as before, but with different kind of vocals. And all those are just something you don't get to hear with albums. I mean, albums are great, especially when the production is good, and usually it's better than on festivals. But then again, you're missing the live energy, you're missing the random factors, like Morgul played Kick, and it seems like something broke there with the drummer. I don't know if it was a kicker, the pedal, I mean. But these things make it kind of a special, make it unique. Sometimes it's bad stuff that just has to happen in order to make these kicks kind of a memorable. Sometimes it's because the company you keep with your good friends, I don't know, maybe good beer or whatever. These are the things that, make these whole events memorable. So, for example, without friends, would I go to Turku Saatanalle each and every year to see, all the bands there? Most likely not, because friends are like half the reason. That same applies to places like Steelfest and other smaller fests when people are basically just around you. And I know it's not the same for people who come from other countries, because there might be just people you don't know at all. But then again, it's also a great way to, kind of a networking. I know it's kind of a weird word to be used in the context of black metal or extreme metal, but I think it's kind of important. I mean, most of us are, nevertheless, how misanthropic we might be, we're kind of a social animals. And when you get this good company, it might be your friend's friend who just you didn't know 5 minutes before, but who turns out to be this really great guy or girl, and you're like, hey, chemistry's going on. Like I met this one girl I never met, friend's friend, at a bar, and it didn't really look like that she was into, I don't know, death metal such as Akron, and we were having this great conversation about like death metal and all kind of underground stuff, obscure and whatnot. And these kind of things are always great, you get to meet like-minded people who then again you will meet in the future as well, at least most likely during these events. So I don't know, I've been going to these kind of fests and gigs so many years that even one way, you start thinking that, are these worthwhile? I mean, I've seen Horna play 1,000,000 times. I've seen Sargaze do another 500,000 times. Exaggerating not. But I mean, doesn't really matter. Even if the band is something like, yeah, no, how they're gonna turn out on stage and what songs they're gonna play, it's not gonna be a big difference. Maybe not big, but the company you keep, like I keep saying, it matters so much. And with quality bands playing quality music in a quality company, I mean, it's just kind of thing that is worth living, worth saving your money, which you're doing in your day job, and you're like, hey, this is all pointless, all is just cold void in cosmos, nothing means no more, we are all gonna die. But then again, with being birth and death, we might just be putting our money and time into these events that make this whole thing worthwhile. So, what can I say? Turku Saatanalle once again proved that it's one of the better events in Finland, especially when we're talking about black metal. I think I could say Turku Saatanalle along with Steelfest and Steel Chaos, they are the type of stuff that make it kind of worthwhile. And it's nice that one is in November, Steel Chaos, one is in early March, and one is in May. So you have something going on almost all the time. Not too frequently, but it's all there. And then when it's the summertime, it's bigger festivals and whatnot. So underground metal festivals in Finland are quite in a good place right now. And as the policy is with Turku Saatanalle, guys, they always want to bring something new to Finland. Some bands that have never ever before performing here. Like Akron was one of those bands meant to be, and Öden was meant to be another one. And well, they were played nice gig, even if a little bit weird, not cringy, but kind of odd. And already the next year's one of the bands has been, announced, and it's gonna be Usurper next year. Once again, a band that never been played in Finland before. So I think Turku Saatanalle VIII is gonna be a brilliant event. So if you again missed Turku Saatanalle VII, if you missed Turku Saatanalle VI last year with bands like Satanic War, Master War, like Our Noir and whatever, there's always next. So I don't know, man. If you're into black metal, if you're into extreme metal, start saving your money, booking your schedule for Turku Saatanalle VIII. These are great times we're living. black metal is kind of dangerous and exotic, once again, with all these religious fanatics being afraid of these darker powers, and then there are these political forces that are always demonizing everything, but we're still having great gigs with great people. What can I say? Tune in and hope to see you there. Next up for Rauta will be Steelfest, so if you see my butt ugly face there, come and pull me by the sleeve and maybe we can have some nice beer. Cheers.